me know them. Gotta rewrite that really quick because I'm gonna not remember that in a minute. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever part of the day the video choose to reach you. I hope you're feeling well. I hope you're feeling fine. I hope you're feeling blessed. I hope you realize that you are blessed. You are blessed because you got to see days somebody else didn't get to see. It is I, your humble host, Mr. Von P, aka the Political Crash Out, live from the political garage. For another episode of Let's Just Talk Some Shit. It ain't no episode. I don't even know what number this is. This might be like number 15, somewhere around there. I'm not even fucking sure. But it's number something. Today we're gonna touch on a couple different things, but one thing we're gonna spend a lot of time on today is breaking down this political violence. We've seen since the unfortunate passing of Charlie Kirk, a lot of conversation be had about political violence, who's committing it, who's responsible for it. I looked at the political violence that's occurred in the United States of America over the last 20 years, and a surprising trend has developed. That's how I'll put that. All I'll say is that when it comes to political violence, there is a usual suspect in America, and we'll get into that in a few minutes. But before that, I want to talk about Kash, Patel, and Rep. Jasmine. I don't know if you guys are aware, but Kash Patel had to appear before Congress today, and Rep. Jasmine ate his fucking lunch. Give me one moment, yeah. It was funny because at certain points of the conversation of the exchange, you seen people try and interject, and let's just break some of this down real quick.
To enterprise group.
Man, oh man, there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the...
Now, the funny thing is that Kash Patel tried to slyly throw shade at the previous FBI director, and this is something that we see done by a lot of Donald Trump cronies, where they try and throw shade at the person that was in the position before them and insinuate that there's some type of liberal plan or there's some type of Biden fuck up. And what you'll find is that there were a lot of individuals that were in place from the Trump previous administration that Biden left in place. Some of them knew what they were fucking doing. Some of them, they had 10 years to their contract, if you will, so where they couldn't be fired just all willy-nilly. They had actually just let their terms play out, and then they could be replaced. So when Kash Patel threw shade at the previous FBI director, and Jasmine Crockett let him know, like, hey, you are the least qualified motherfucker in the history of ever to hold this position. But that's not the only position that lacks any qualification, lacks much qualification, that we got somebody there that's just fucking idiot. Kash Patel, Pete Hegseth, Linda McMahon, fuck the whole goddamn cabinet. Them motherfuckers don't know what they're doing. Marco Rubio might be the only motherfucker that halfway know what he's doing in this position, and he still ain't suited for his position. Like, so this cabinet is a fucking mockery. Let's go, Jazz. Let's get him.
Only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining, yet we are supposed to believe that
That's
you are
false.
the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go
false.
through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today.
Rep Jasmine, I just want to say for the record, as a black man in America, I don't feel safe either. Let's not forget that we just seen a white man get killed by another white man, and HBCUs across the nation got bomb threats and all type of threats called into them. We just had a young man tragically die at Delta State University under mysterious circumstances. The coroner says there's no foul play. There are conflicting reports about whether he got broken bones or not. But if he decided to hang himself from a tree, that young man at Delta State College chose a pretty motherfucking odd time to do it. I'm gonna just say that right now. Especially in the state of Mississippi. He just up and decided to hang himself in the state of Mississippi. So yes, Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett, I, as a black man speaking on behalf of the black delegation in America, we don't feel safe with this motherfucker at the helm either.
And I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues, and frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my...
Thank you, Rep Jasmine, for stealing my steam. We gonna jump into this in a minute. What Rep Jasmine's talking about is not just some fluff, some bullshit. We are going to break down every last act of political violence that has occurred in the United States over the last 20 years today on this stream. Just wait till we get done with Rep Jasmine fucking Kash Patel ass up.
Colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress.
And just for the record, the voice that you hear in the background is Representative Congressman Jim Jordan. I believe he's from Utah or some overwhelmingly white state. And he's just trying to slyly just like, no, that's not. Just keep listening to how the motherfuckers are trying and just twist and turn real actual fact?
Because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay.
Keep a firearm
so here's
ready.
the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody, and then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap, because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there.
That's the funny thing. Charlie Kirk shooter was having a conversation or something with his partner, and his partner told his dad, and his dad was like, hey, if your bud really is on this, then you need to tell, because that's not right.
Even though he
What the hell? My shit is... Lord have mercy. Did my stream just fucking freeze? Testing 1 2 3. Testing 1 2 3. Don't know what the fuck happened there, but the stream just froze. But we back with it. All right. Let's try this again. See how they trying to fuck your boy up? When you spreading that real information, they don't want you. They don't want me to be out here talking this shit like this. All right, so let's try this again. I'm seeing I'm moving. Okay, I'm good. Let's get back to Rep Jasmine.
He literally.
Oh, but like I was saying, she's referencing a truthful thing. The Charlie Kirk shooter told his buddy through a text message or something that, hey, all that hoopla is me. I did it. And the buddy went and told his dad, like, Dad, my bud killed Charlie Kirk. And his dad was like, yeah, might need to go tell, And then the dad went and coaxed his son into going to tell on the man. So it wasn't no deep FBI investigation. It wasn't them looking through no text messages. It wasn't them doing no wild shit. It was somebody snitched. That's how they caught this dude. He got snitched on. If he had kept his motherfucking mouth shut, they wouldn't have caught him. Because all that palm print shit that they talking about, when you go to jail, they take this right here. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. They don't take this right here. They do not take this. And notice when I said when you go to jail, he ain't had no criminal record. His prints ain't in the motherfucking system. So they wouldn't have been able to do shit with none of them palm prints that they found. They truly got lucky. She is not lying. They truly got lucky by this jit just fucking telling on herself, basically.
Confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing, except for trying to put on a show for The Apprentice, or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're gonna do anything about the white supremacy problem. The one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I mean, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that,
this guy's a fucking cuck. That's just all I'm gonna say. He's a fucking cuck. Fucking cuck.
I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions, clickbait auditions for the Academy Award for my Democratic colleagues. We'll see how they fare.
Now, they want to talk about putting on the show and clickbait and all that other shit while talking to a fucking podcaster. Kash Patel is a fucking podcaster. I ain't give a damn what Jim Jordan said, all that other bullshit. He's a fucking podcaster. Peddle conspiracy theories. And that right now, you're trying to shift the narrative away from reality. And the reality is that in America, we have a problem with political violence. Why should white guys have all the fun? We got a problem with political violence in America. And America, at least this administration, does not want to admit it. We've seen time and time again since this Charlie Kirk situation how people have gone on in the media saying the left and Democrats are just stoking the flames by calling people fascists, and they're causing all the violence, and they're overlooking the undeniable trend that has become so noticeable when we talk about political violence in America. So when we talk about political violence in America, we're not just talking about one party getting attacked over another. I'm talking about every fucking party. Shout out to Eternal Water. This stuff really fucking, I love that water. But when we talk about political violence in America, I'm not just talking about one party getting whacked over the other. Talk about both parties, period. So what I've done is I've taken a look at every political violent act that's happened in America over the last 20 years. And I've taken the liberty of, looking up what does each act, what the perpetrator in each act looks like. And a undeniable trend has occurred. It has usual suspect. Political violence in America has a usual suspect. And it's the angry white man. Not only is the angry white man, the conservative angry white man, the right-leaning angry white man, the Republican white man, the MAGA white man is the face of domestic terrorism, aka political violence in America. I'm not saying that every white man in America is capable of political violence. I'm not saying that every white man in America commits political violence. What I'm saying is that when we look at political violence in America, there is a usual suspect. And that usual suspect is white men. White men from the right. It's undeniable. It's unfucking deniable. But if you think I'm lying, let's take a look at some things. Let's take a look at some of the political violent acts that has occurred in America over the last 20 years. We're going to start with, we're going to go way back. Going way back. We're going to start with the 2017 shooting at the where is it? We're going to talk about the 2018 shooting at the no. Where in the fuck is the goddamn? Why didn't let me share that? Why didn't you give me that option? Here we go. Back in 2017, we had an individual shoot up a Republican baseball game practice. Every once during session when they get together and watch him, the Democratic side and the Republican side, they play this softball game, and it's supposed to be a playful time where they just kind of get together and blow off some steam in a playful, joyful way. Well, leading up to that game, the Republican team was practicing, and their practice got shot up. Now, the individual that shot it up was a man named James T. Hodges. You know what? I'm not even saying these motherfuckers' names. In the situation, in this incident, Republican Steve Scalise, fucking saying his name fucking wrong, but he was injured in the shooting. Steve Scalise, he was injured in the shooting, and a couple other people were injured, but he was the most notable person to get injured. He was a Republican. The person that did it, I give it to you. He was on the left. But I'm going to tell you right now, if y'all think that it's going to be a situation where I'm going to be sitting here talking about a lot of these left-leaning motherfuckers that shot up shit, it's not going to be the case. I'm going to tell you that right now. If you tuned into the stream thinking I was going to have a long list of left-leaning white men that have been shooting up shit, committing political violence in America, nah. And spoiler alert, he's about the only one. That's why I started with him. That's why I started with the white boy. Because this dude is about the only left-leaning person over the last 20 years that has committed a political violent act. He shot up a Republican's baseball practice in DC back in 2017. Now, shortly after that, matter of fact, where's my list so I can keep myself on a kind of a fucking track here. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna just jump to the next one. Because in 2020, we had God damn it, where's my list that I had that kept me on track? One second, chat. So I had a list that I was working off of on my computer. Yo, boss, come off from the screen. All right. So first we had the Republican shooting, but before we had that dude, in 2011, we had what is it? Oh, there we go. Democratic Representative Gabby Giffords was shot by this fucking psychopath in a grocery store parking lot while having a conversation with some of her constituents. A right-leaning, angry white man shot a little old white lady and some staffers in her fucking parking lot of the goddamn grocery store. Do you see that? I don't know if you take a note, but you can already start to see there's a trend developing. There's a fucking trend developing. Crazy looking white boys. There's a trend starting to develop. Let's see. Guess who farted? This guy says, who killed James Chaney, Andrew Goodman, Michael Schwerner? I don't know who those guys are off the top of my head. Those names were not on the list of political violent acts that I had researched over the last 20 years in America. So if you can, give me some more data on them. Because this psychopath on the screen shot Rep. Gabby Giffords. He's a right-leaning lunatic. One more for the right. One more for the motherfucking right. Uh-oh. Mic diffuser. I lost my place talking about this goddamn lunatic. Where's my fucking list? I need to put that on the side here so I can just have it here. Ugh. You know what? Them the Freedom Riders. God damn. You take my black card. They were the motherfucking Freedom Riders. You're absolutely right. I'm thinking of it over the last 20 years, and you just throw me completely the fuck off. Yeah, you're right. Like, why does his name sound familiar to me? Like, I know it's not nothing I looked at over the last 20 years in political violence. I've been on this shit all day. But those the people that he's referring to are the Freedom Riders. They were killed some black activists and a couple white boys. A couple white boys and black boy got killed in the rural South. The stories escaped me off the top of my head. I forget what state they're in, but there was somewhere in one of the rural South states, and they were unfortunately unalived while trying to get people that look like me some rights. And unfortunately, they were killed by, can you guess it? Angry white boys. Angry white boys. Angry fucking white boys. And I don't want to seem racist or anything like that, but I'm calling them spade a spade. So the guy that shot at the Republican baseball game in 2016, whatever that was, left-leaning person. Motherfucker that shot Gabby Giffords in 2011, I was a right-leaning person. And unfortunately, Gabby Giffords did unfortunately pass away from her injuries eventually, but she did, before she passed away, she was able to recover enough to, serve again in Congress, but she was not ever the same person ever again, unfortunately, because of this fucking psychopath right here. So after Gabby Giffords and Steve, the Republican shooting, I gotta get some of this shit off my screen. That's the problem. I got too much shit on my screen. And one other thing, when I looked up some of this stuff, there was a killing that it shocked me because somehow, some way, a mob boss got wrapped up into political killings. Because when I get there, I'm gonna get there. But it was crazy. Like when I was like, "What? This motherfucker whacked the mob boss because he thought it was anti-MAGA? Like what the fuck?" But in 2020, we had 13 men, 13 motherfuckers said they thought it was a good idea to try and kidnap and murder. Where is it? Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer. I think I said her name right. Whitmer, yes. These 13 individuals. Notice trend again. There is a trend developing when it comes to political violence in the United States of America. 13 white men thought it was a good idea to kidnap the Democratic governor of their state, kill her, and start a race war. These 13 motherfuckers on your screen, they were charged in this whole plot. Please tell me that you're starting to see the trend that I see when I went down this rabbit hole of seeing, hey, who's actually committing the political violence in America? Because I keep hearing these talking heads on TV talk about the Democrats in their wild language, but I've only ever really heard Republicans and the right really talk about this crazy type of shit that they're talking about. And I've only really ever seen Republicans try and carry out acts of political violence in America. Speaking of the year 2020, we had January 6th, which was committed by a whole slew of white folks. The Proud Boys, all that there. People are talking about Antifa and this, that, and other. But when we look at political violence in America, it has a usual suspect. So after these 13 motherfuckers were charged in the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, we had January 6th. And of course, like I said, that was a horrendous time. But one of the things that was not talked about a lot during January 6th, that was kind of lost in the shuffle, there were multiple pipe bombs found at not only the Democratic National Convention headquarters, but also the Republican National Convention headquarters. So I think January 6th might have been the start of what we now seen culminate with the Charlie Kirk killing, where we're starting to see a little bit more bigger split with the Republican Party, where some factions within the Republican Party felt if other factions in the Republican Party weren't extreme enough and needed to be dealt with. Of course, we know why they might have placed pipe bombs outside of the Democratic National Convention Center. The Democratic National Convention Party headquarters in D.C. But why would they place pipe bombs outside of the RNC headquarters? It was a question that we've all been asked. It's a question that we've all asked. But I think the unfortunate unaliving of Charlie Kirk shed a lot of light on that division. So you get what I'm saying? Political violence in America has a fucking usual suspect. And white men, unfortunately, you fit the description. Excuse me. All right, so let's get past that a little bit. In 2022, we had a Kentucky mayoral candidate that was, come on. We had a Kentucky candidate for mayor that's, where is it? Give me one. Hold on. Where is it? All right, let me clean up some of this shit on my screen really quick here because I got too much on my screen here. All right, it's a BBC article here. Where's the BBC? Besides the motherfucking pants. Here we go. In 2022, we had a Louisiana Republican mayoral candidate in Louisiana. His office was shot up. Here's the black man, y'all. I'm gonna just let the cat out the bag. Here's the one black motherfucker that I could find that was charged with committing an act of political violence in the last 20 years. It's this motherfucker. He's the only one. He is the only motherfucking black person that I could find that was charged with committing an act of political violence in the last 20 years in America. The only one. Shot up a Louisiana mayoral candidate's office. And I'm going to just go ahead and say what the media said. The man, he got a lot of mental health issues. If it worked for the white people, why can't it work for him? Do I believe he had mental health issues? I don't give a fuck if he had them or not. But this left-wing activist pled not guilty to attempted murder because he shot up the office. He indicated they wanted to highlight the fact that he was a part of the Black Lives Matter organization and the Black Lives Matter people bailed him out of jail. But they had clearly known he had a mental health breakdown before the shooting and had not slept for days or weeks when he did it. Not making an excuse for him to shoot up the man's office, but this motherfucker right here is the only black man that has committed an act of political violence in America in the last 20 years. So if you ever hear somebody talk about black people be committing political violence in America, no, we do not. We do not. Political violence in America has a usual suspect, and we are not that suspect. This is our only motherfucking one. Only one. The only one. Uno. That's all we got. That's all we got. That's all we got. We got one. We got one. We got one. We got one. That's it. Then we get to the unfortunate attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband, Paul Pelosi. Paul Pelosi, if you're not aware of who he is, the old Democratic Speaker of the House was Nancy Pelosi, and her husband was Paul Pelosi. Now, they were in their house, and this lunatic broke in their house with a hammer and proceeded to try and kill Paul Pelosi with a hammer. This guy. And guess what? Guess what his political ideology is associated with? MAGA. Did Trump condemn that? Oh, there are bad people all over. Did we see any talk about, oh, the right has to own this, the right has to own this? I really blame the Democrats right now because I should not be the first person on the internet that's diving into the usual suspect that is committing political violence in America over the last 20 years. Really over the last 100 years or so. It's the same motherfuckers. And instead of the Democrats pointing that stuff out, they try and play respectability politics and end up with motherfuckers like this breaking into your house trying to kill your husband with a fucking hammer. Because we don't call a spade a spade. This MAGA lunatic tried to kill Nancy Pelosi's husband. And in case you have not noticed the trend already of the umpteen motherfuckers I've already showed you on screen, the face of political violence in America has a usual suspect. It's white America. It's white men, angry white men. And I know some white men are going to see this and they're going to get in my chat and they're going to start talking crazy. I'm not calling all white men in America violent. But what I am saying is that when political violence happens in America, the suspect usually is white. And more likely than not, a white man. If you don't like that, then you need to talk to your homeboys because they giving y'all motherfuckers a bad rep. All right, so after we got Paul Pelosi unfortunate attack, we have this one threw me for a little bit of a loop because I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, this man did what? Hold on, let me get the right one. I got a lot of these motherfuckers on my screen and I'm kind of getting confused between some of them because it was a lot over the last 20 years. A failed GOP candidate. This is a crazy one here. This motherfucker on the screen right here. He did not win. I think it was, which election did he go for? So much shit is in my head. All right, so this motherfucker ran for office in Albuquerque, New Mexico as a Republican. Did not win his seat. So you know what this motherfucker did? He decided to hire hitmen to take out his Democratic rivals. But in the course of him hiring hitmen, he went to jail for it because, of course, that's against the law to hire hitmen to kill somebody, especially when you're talking about committing political violence. But he didn't stop there. After he was already locked up, he tried to hire more hitmen to kill witnesses against him, i.e., the hitman that he motherfucking hired to kill the Democrats. So yes, this motherfucker failed at getting elected and then hired hitmen to kill the motherfuckers that got elected. And then we got caught. He tried to hire some more motherfuckers to kill the motherfuckers that he hired to kill some motherfuckers. What's on his shirt? What's that hanging in the background now? But who has to own this type of stuff? Who's the one that's always inciting violence? Who's the one that's always the fuck? I don't think Democrats are doing themselves enough justice because this ain't hard right here to look at. This ain't hard to find. It might have took me a couple hours to put this shit together, but it was not hard to do. Excuse me. It was not. Matter of fact, who else do I got up over here? Oh shit. This is wait a minute. I'm getting out of line. I'm jumping ahead of myself. Because I ain't even got to this year yet. I have not even got into this year yet. Now, here's one I'm going to give. I lied earlier. I said it was about one motherfucker that was accused of trying to do some shit to motherfucker a Republican. But it's two. I forgot while I was doing my research and looking into this stuff. Unfortunately, Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh, he was subject to a situation where a guy tried to unalive him as well. So let's dump into that real quick. This okey doke looking ass white boy was charged in the plot to kill Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh. Once again, white man. He caught a cab to Supreme Court Justice Brett Kavanaugh's neighborhood. He was dressed in all black, had a ski mask on, had a pistol and a knife in the bag with him. Got out the cab, dressed like that, mind you. Special, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But he drove in the cab dressed like that, got out of the car in Brett Kavanaugh's neighborhood, made his way towards the house, got spooked when he saw the police surrounding the house, and went and hid in the woods and called the police on himself and said that he was going to kill Brett Kavanaugh. When they found him hiding in the woods and the rest of them, he had the guns, the knife on the zip ties, shit like that. And obviously, they gave him a mental health evaluation and was like, yeah, this motherfucker's crazy because who the fuck does this? So that's two individuals that have tried to commit acts of political violence towards Republicans versus like 20 acts of political violence where people have committed acts of violence towards Democrats. It's not even close. It's not even fucking close. Not even fucking close. Nowhere near fucking close. And then we had the great Luigi Mangione. Some people want to hail Luigi Mangione as a fucking saint. I'm not going to be one of those people that try and say that this man was a saint, because at the end of the day, Luigi Mangione killed an innocent man. I'm gonna put him up on the screen really quickly because we talk about him. Where is he at? I'll put him on the screen because we talk about him. But this man right here is not a freedom fighter or anything like that. If anything, Luigi Mangione shows us what's wrong with America, because America watched this man kill an innocent person in the street, and then they proceeded to say that the healthcare executive deserved it because of his job, and this man is supposed to be a hero. He ain't do no heroic shit. Nothing. Another white boy that committed an act of political violence in America. That's what the fuck this is. So I'll say once again, political violence in America has a usual suspect, and it's usually a white boy. Now, let's get to some of the more recent things that we've seen, because everything I talked about so far has not been of the last couple of years. It's been a long time ago. Where's this? Where am I at? Where am I at? Excuse me. Last year in 2024, we had a Democratic office get shot the fuck up. Completely shot the fuck up. Can you guess who the motherfucking culprit was? If you guessed angry white man, ding, 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 you're absolutely fucking right. And when the authorities say Jeffrey Michael Kelly had more than 120 guns and over 250,000 rounds of ammunition in his home, this man shot up the Democratic National Committee office in suburban Phoenix on 3 separate occasions. 3 different times. That's terrorism. If that ain't terrorism, I don't know what the fuck is. This man shot up the Democratic National Committee office in Arizona 3 times. 3 times. 3 different times. Shot it up once, say, you know what, that ain't good enough. Shot it up again, say, you know what, that ain't good enough. Shot it up again, then he got caught. If that's not terrorism on a domestic level, I don't know what is. Once again, the perpetrator, Republican. Once again, the perpetrator, white man. Are you noticing the trend yet? Some people are in denial. That's the only reason I'm doing this petty shit right now, because some people are in denial. Now, I've been getting comments all week since Charlie Kirk passed on all of my content from people saying that the left is committing so much violence that we're not looking at, and we're overlooking this, and they talk crazy and all of this, that, and other. And I'm like, have y'all not been paying attention to who's been doing this shit in America? Because it's been white Republicans mainly. So that's why I've done the due diligence to do this. Now, thank y'all that's watching it with me, because we know it, but some of the people didn't know this. So now, once I put this on the internet world, it's out there for them to look at. You don't have to try and look it up, because I've done the looking. And I'm telling you right now, who's been doing this shit. You can't deny it. You cannot fucking deny it. We had this motherfucker shoot up a Democratic national office. Then we had Governor Shapiro out in California. His shit was shot up. Excuse me. Attempt to burn down. Excuse me. I didn't even say shot up. But Josh Shapiro, it's not, and I said California, I'm thinking Governor Newsom, but Josh Shapiro out in Pennsylvania, he had his house burnt up. And when this white lunatic was asked, what would you have done if Governor Shapiro was home, who's a Democrat, by the way, he said he would have beat him in the head with a hammer. Another MAGA loyal. So when we keep hearing this stuff on the media talking about Democrats got to tone down the rhetoric and they got to own this. They call the president the fascist. They call this, that. Like, your own people are out here doing shit that you're ignoring to try and push a narrative that's just not there. It's just not there. Just not fucking there. Who else we got on my list here that's left to talk about? Oh, man. Unfortunately, earlier this year, we had excuse me. We had Minnesota Senators Melissa Hortman and John Hoffman attacked by another gun-wielding MAGA loyalist. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what we know about him. What do we know about him? Another white boy. Another white man. What do you know? Another white guy that committed an act of political violence in America. Killed Ms. Hoffman and injured Mr. Hortman. Dressed up as a police officer to do this too. Come on. Had a shootout with police in the process of this. But when Donald Trump chooses to talk about crime in America, he's only sending places that have high black populations troops. And I've just showed you at least 15 white men in America that have committed political violence in the name of the Republican Party. Tell me again, who has their own political violence in America? Bear with me. I know it's getting kind of tiring to talk about all these motherfucking white men that's trying to kill up some shit, but we're not done yet. We are not done yet. Because earlier this year again, we had a shooting at the CDC in Atlanta, where unfortunately a black police officer was killed. We didn't see any type of special half-mast flag ceremonies, anything as a result of this shooting. But the media didn't talk about one particular thing with this shooting, and that the shooting was committed by an anti-vaxxer, a MAGA loyal anti-vaxxer. This little white boy mad at anti-vaxxers, mad at the vaccines and everything else. Wonder how he got radicalized. Said the CDC was a bad thing and shot it the fuck up. Another angry white boy that identifies as a Republican. Who has their own political violence in America? I'm not saying that political violence is not something that, I'm not saying political violence can't be committed by other people. I'm not saying that by a long shot. But what I am saying is that when political violence happens in America, 9.5 times out of 10, it's going to be a white person that did it. Kind of tired of going through all these white boys that doing all this crazy shit. I ain't even gonna lie to y'all. Who else I got on my list that's left to talk about? This one surprised me. A mob boss in New York was killed. And the shooter, when he got arrested, he was pro-Trump, he was pro-QAnon, but he said he killed the man because he felt, what did he say about the motherfucker? He felt like he was a deep state actor. Camilo's attorney argues that he became so engrossed with unsupported QAnon theories that on the night of Callie's death, he was acting under a delusion, which included that Democratic politicians, celebrities, and people associated with organized crime were part of the deep state, according to Camilo's lawyer. He wrote that his client believed he was on a mission to save the American way of life. Beginning with the election of President Trump in 2016, Anthony Camilo's family began to notice changes of his personality. Mr. Camilo's support for QAnon went beyond mere participation in a radical political organization. It evolved into a delusional obsession. So this white boy went all the way. He killed a mob boss. He killed a mob boss because he thought he was a deep state actor on the behalf of the Democrats. When I seen this one, I was like, whoa, this is not real. These motherfuckers are whacking capos behind politics. He killed the fucking capo because he thought the capo was a deep state actor working on behalf of Democrats. Can't make this shit up. I wish I would make some of this shit up. I really do. All right, so the next motherfucker on the list. Who else we got here? All right, so we talked about all the main shit. Now let's get into Donald Trump's shooter. The first one. This little white boy raised in the political ideology of Republicans. Little white boy was a Republican voter. This little white Republican tried to whack Trump. Now, I won't go as far to say he was a MAGA groper, but his attempt on Trump's life oddly coincides with activities that were going on with the groper wars that were happening online. I'm going to just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. But the main thing I would like to point out, another white boy with another fucking violent act. Pretty much. Ryan Ruth, the second Trump shooter. Another white man. Now, full disclosure, Ryan Ruth is all over the goddamn place with his political ideology. He was registered Republican, registered Democrat, fighting for this country, that country. He was all over the fucking place. But the one common thing that he does have, that he's an angry white boy. And that he felt good enough about himself that he thought he was in a position to try and take out Trump. And we all know that didn't happen. Shit. All right, so when we look at political violence in America, we can't help but notice that there is a motherfucking hold on, y'all. My garage door is up, so I can do stuff like that, y'all. Pardon me if I freaked or grossed anybody out when I did that, but talking for a long time. Yeah. So if you haven't picked up on anything during this stream, I need you to pick up that the face of political violence in America does not belong to the left. It does not belong to the Democrats. I won't say that Republicans have a monopoly on political violence in America. I will say that Republicans undoubtedly are the majority when it comes to political violence in America. And it's not just happening to them. They are the ones committing acts. All this rhetoric that we're hearing online, on the news, wherever in the chat rooms, it's a lie. Republicans are the main ones that commit political violence in America. Not the left, not the independents, but the Republican Party. I'm not saying the Republican Party as a whole is a violent organization, but individuals that identify as Republicans, and MAGA more notably, are the ones that commit most of the political violent acts in America. And until we address that, they're going to keep on committing those political violent acts because they don't see a problem with it. Because their own leader, Donald Trump, he stoked the flames of January 6th that sent all those people down to the Capitol to riot, where police officers were hurt and ultimately died. That might have been the biggest political violent act of the 20th century in America. But a lot of Americans are in denial about it. They don't want to believe that it was, in fact, a political violent act, because if they were to accept that, then they would have to accept the fact that one of the parties that are dominated in America really is responsible for a lot of the violence. They don't want to accept that. That's why they keep trying to push the blame across the aisle. Who in the fuck is riding a moped just late at night? But the Republicans have to wake up, because while they don't want to accept that a lot of the political violence in America is happening by Republicans, they're going to have to accept that they're not safe in their own house anymore. Because we've seen a Republican try to kill Donald Trump, and we've seen a Republican actually succeed in taking out Charlie Kirk. And they look like them. So once again, I won't say that all white men in America are violent. I won't say that all white men in America commit political violence. But what I will say is that when political violence occurs in America, it has a usual suspect. And that usual suspect is angry white men. And that's stream for the day, guys. Thank y'all for participating. Guess who farted? This guy. You had me stumped a little bit because I was not in my historical thing, and I was so locked into these past 20 years. I wasn't even thinking about the civil rights era and the freedom fighters and the freedom riders. Excuse me. Put my black card on probation for about 6 months because of that shit. I got to go read the Malcolm X, the biography. Go read the biography of Malcolm X because of that shit. Peace. Love you guys.